Joining me now to discuss the link between the deadly storm and climate change is Dr. Kim Cobb. She's a professor of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences at Georgia Institute of Technology. Thanks so much for joining us today, Dr. Cobb. Welcome to UNews.
Thanks for having me.
So what was on your mind as you saw all the destruction and flooding caused by Ida in New York and in New Jersey?
I mean, this is an unimaginable event. We are headed into uncharted territory with climate change. And this is now grounded in even better science than ever, with the release of the United Nations report on climate last month, providing new and stronger links between ongoing warming and extreme rainfall like these class of events. Of course, it's not just that, it's also drought and fire-prone weather out west that we're grappling with simultaneously here in the United States.
You mentioned those wildfires out west and now also the extreme rain in the south. So what would you say is the link between these events and climate change?
Well, it all goes back to heat, extra heat to be exact. We've known for decades that fossil fuel emissions are driving warming across the planet, and that has done two things. Heating the soil and the land makes it more vulnerable to fires and increases the fuel that's available to fires. And here, when we think about extreme rainfall, heating of the atmosphere can hold more water vapor, 7% more for 1 degree Celsius, which is the level of warming we've seen thus far. And that is, again, outlined newly in the report from the United Nations last month.
Climate change and extreme weather events have caused a surge in these natural disasters over the past 50 years, according to this new United Nations report that you just mentioned. Now, what are some of the report's main points? What else can you add to this?
Well, one of the report's key points is a piece of good news, which is that we still have time to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius this century. And that would occur mid-century with tangible benefits if we get to work right now. We have 1 or 2 decades requiring deep and sustained cuts in fossil fuel emissions to achieve that most ambitious level of warming outlined in the Paris Climate Accord. And then with that come, again, these tangible benefits of reduced climate risks. And now the true costs of inaction are becoming all too clear.
Now, there's also a lot of discussion about building infrastructure that can withstand climate change, but that would cost billions of dollars. We saw the levees in New Orleans held back water for the most part, but the power infrastructure did fail. Is that the right approach? Many people wonder what can be done now. We need help now.
Well, unfortunately, we have squandered a couple decades of time to prepare for our climate of now. Now we're caught in catch-up mode and trying to prepare for a climate of the next coming decades, which will unfortunately include worsening climate extremes. So we have to make deep investments to help communities become more climate ready. But we also have to recognize that we need deep investments to help transition our fossil fuel infrastructure away from these greenhouse gas emissions that are driving this problem in the first place. So again, we need to harness the available science on both sides, building more resilient communities, but also helping us move away from increasing climate risk going forward.
Now, the storm caught officials in the north and millions of people off guard. Could this be now a turning point in public opinion and climate change?
Well, I certainly hope so. I don't know how many lessons like this we can take, quite frankly. What was formerly unimaginable, now unfortunately imaginable, and reeling in our heads on a day-to-day basis. And the phrase record-breaking temperatures, record-breaking rainfall, record-breaking wind speeds have now become a daily part of our lives year on year now. So let's hope that an event like this becomes a catalyst that we need to keep communities safe over the next coming years.
We are talking about this just all too often now. Thanks so much for your time, Dr. Kim Cobb from Georgia Institute of Technology. Take care.
Thanks for having me.